But here's a little something I'll give you. 31 seconds from the shaved scrotum, Klaus Schwab of the World Economic Forum. He declares climate change, COVID-19, and inclusion. This man, this uptight, soft boner, okay? This uptight, soft porn boner. He wants you to believe that in his quiet times of meditation at home, he's just so overcome with the desire to make everybody included. He wants everybody included. Everybody needs to be included. In what? In everything. We need everybody included into everything. That's what he racks his mind over at home. Listen to this.
What I consider the four foremost challenges we are faced with at this present time. They are COVID, of course, climate change, inclusion, and here I would also particularly address gender parity, and finally, the fourth industrial revolution, the new technologies. How well can we master them in order to make them serving humanity and not harming humanity?
Okay, so the last thing that you heard there. So now, not only, once again, they're bringing up the climate. The climate is coming back up. That is, its turn in the feeder is up again. We need to take care of COVID, climate change, inclusion. I don't know. I guess that's more attack on masculinity type of stuff and convincing people not to have whole functional families anymore. Not to have life goals. Not to see themselves living in a nice little house, having a little bit of property, having something for yourself. You're going to be a vagabond, a drifter, someone who works from home in a nice little cubicle, and that's it. But at the end there, the fourth industrial revolution, we've covered that a lot in the past. We should probably do it again because that's the foremost challenges there humans are faced with today. That fourth industrial revolution is not only the flattening of the world economy, but that is where the transhumanism really comes into the fray. I'm telling you, they already did their cyber polygon, ladies and gentlemen. It didn't mean that the big cyber catastrophe had to happen the day after. This stuff, they are this uptight boner, this soft boner, sitting there in his boner chair, inclusion, with his fish lips. You fucking Skeksis. He looks like a Skeksis from Dark Crystal. You fucking mutt. Okay. All right. Well, we did that. Aldous Huxley. You know what? To hell with it. Let's do Aldous Huxley. I guess we are doing this after all. I think that this all really comes together real nicely now. Aldous Huxley to George Orwell. You ever hear this letter? Or an excerpt from a letter? Aldous Huxley to George Orwell. My dystopia is better than yours. Not so much better, but they go hand in hand. This is from The Atlantic from a couple of years ago. On October 21st, 1949, a few months after the publication of 1984, George Orwell received a letter from Aldous Huxley, whose Brave New World had been published 17 years earlier. Huxley concludes this: within the next generation, I believe that the world's rulers will discover that infant conditioning and narco-hypnosis are more efficient as instruments of government than clubs and prisons, and that the lust for power can be just as completely satisfied by suggesting people into loving their servitude as by flogging and kicking them into obedience. In other words, I feel that the nightmare of 1984 is destined to modulate into the nightmare of a world having more resembled that to that which I imagined in Brave New World. The change will be brought about as a result of a felt need for increased efficiency. Meanwhile, of course, there may be a large-scale biological and atomic war in which we shall have nightmares of other and scarcely imaginable kinds. That's why, this is the first time I ever read this letter, or a portion of this letter from one to the other. And what have I always said when we talk about those two books and those, because they're often referenced, they are used as cautionary tales. The left often uses them as cautionary tales as well. Very, very odd. They're so stupid. They can't really see that far in front of them. For them to think that they have any claim to using something like 1984 or Brave New World as a cautionary tale against the right. Or against, and when I say the right, I mean those who are more inclined to decentralize society, not those who are looking to grasp onto the same kind of centralized powers, but just put a different face on it. That is the age-old battle between the ugly twin sisters of fascism and communism. The right has nothing to do with fascism. Nothing to do with fascism. In fact, people who believe right and left really boil down to something like that would be very confused as to what we actually believe. They wouldn't even know how to approach us. That's why libertarianism usually confuses leftists a lot. A lot of confusion there. But 1984 is essential for understanding the press and understanding what's going on in the media and whatnot. But Brave New World is definitely where we're going. The transhumanism, the social conditioning, especially the sexual social conditioning of children and things like that, the destruction of the family, where, remember, in Brave New World, it gets to a point where even the word mother is perverse. There is no mother, there is no father. In fact, many people are bred to only do a certain couple of functions in society based on wherever the hell they were manufactured. And that the savages in Brave New World are looked onto because they still have family structures. They still live off the land. They don't live like they do in a very stable, single-column society. So that's where Klaus Schwab is inching us toward.